Hi guys. I'm Pete. I'll try to do this presentation in English. I hope you'll understand what I'm saying. Basically, we're at Tech Fusion. I'm Piotr. I will talk about UltraViolet, castLabs, and this one thing which connects all those dots here. So let's start with me. I'm Piotr Bulin. I'm a software developer at castLabs, a company based in Berlin. But recently we opened some new office in States. More information about what I do, what I tweet, some information about CV, whatever, my photos you can find on my website. So yeah, that's the least interesting part. What I do every day, we work with something which is called UltraViolet. Do you actually, anyone knows here what UltraViolet is? Okay, except the guys from castLabs. Anyone else? Okay, that's nice, because then maybe I will interest you with some new piece of technology being available soon on the market. UltraViolet is a digital entertainment content ecosystem. It's a new ecosystem, or actually it's not that new because it's on the market for 2 years. But what's happening right now, they are specifying more and more elements of this system. There is one base rule that interoperability. You can buy content from different retailers. Then you can download this content. Or you have like one central database of your so-called rights locker. It's your collection of your movies. So you can buy movies from your favorite retailer, the cheapest one, or I don't know, you choose, right? Free market. You buy content once. You put this into your rights locker. And then what you can do is you have a full right to download the movie 3 times, and you can stream the movie as many times as you want during 1 year. This is the basic right you get in UltraViolet while you're purchasing UltraViolet content. Next thing, yes, you can download content, you can share content with your family members or your friends. You create something which is called a household. In one household, you can have up to 6 users, and you can share your purchases, which means that a bunch of friends or just a family, you can, everyone can buy content, you can share it, you can watch it. The best part is that whenever you buy content which is branded by UltraViolet, you can watch it on any device which is also branded by UltraViolet. It includes set-top boxes, Android devices, iOS devices, computers, all kind of hardware. Yeah, there is something called disk to digital. Whenever you bought a disc with a movie, you can go to a website of the company which sold you the movie. You put the redemption code, and also this movie is going to your rights locker, which means you, after buying a movie from a physical retailer on a physical disc, you actually don't have to put this disc into your computer or your TV or whatever to watch it. That's pretty awesome. Another really nice thing about UltraViolet is the whole consortium, the DC, is created by major studios from Hollywood, which means that you will get the most fresh content available on the market. They are saying that UltraViolet is going to replace Blu-ray and DVD, which means that after release in cinemas, the first thing which will happen will be release on DVD, Blu-ray, and UltraViolet, because it's driven by the biggest studios from Hollywood. So that's about the basics of UltraViolet. Maybe, do you have any questions before we'll continue? Great. What is castLabs? castLabs is a company, as I mentioned before, it's a company based in Berlin. It was started in 2007 by 2 really awesome guys. Yeah, the first thing castLabs was doing was GmbH. It's broadcasting, digital broadcasting. And they launched it in some places around the world. But after a while, they decided to do some, to go more digital, to go more into internet. They created a service called DRM today. It's a DRM cloud service. After that, they get licensed in UltraViolet ecosystem, which means castLabs is a member of the whole consortium, and we are pushing this thing together with those big studios. And right now, the whole point of me being here, or actually what connects castLabs and UltraViolet, this is the, let's say, high-level portfolio of our solutions, of our technologies we work on. In UltraViolet, what we do, we create tools for creating the content, for packaging the content. We help retailers to integrate with the whole ecosystem. We have something which is called Download Service Provider, which allows, or it's one role in UltraViolet which basically deliver the content to end users and license the content, because of course all the content is protected by DRM. So yeah, this is the service, Download Service Provider. We have a team which is working on player SDKs. You can, with our solution, you can build players for iOS and Android, which will be fully integrated with UltraViolet. Our DRM Today solution can be also used for streaming, which is soon going to be also launched in UltraViolet in a bit different way than it is right now. And what we do is a pretty interesting thing is Dash. I think it's a really nice future of streaming in internet. And actually YouTube recently switched to Dash, if you don't know. Would be done with, that would be all about the marketing, about the company. And then the most interesting thing is the technologies we use at our company. Yeah, you most likely know all of them. I will tell you why we choose them, why we think they are awesome. And I will try to describe how we use them. Let's start with GitHub. Anyone from you know what is GitHub? Of course, everyone knows.
I mean, GitHub is the sexy tool which allows you to do everything, where the whole power of Git is showed in a really nice GUI. You can click everything. You don't have to use terminal, to blame people, or to do this nice merging stuff and so on and so on. I think this is the best versioning system ever, Git, and this connected with GitHub is the most powerful thing I've ever seen. So yeah, we use it from every day. We have like 92 repositories currently. We keep all our projects in GitHub. Yeah, it speeds up a lot our work. And I think I don't have to say much more about it. You have to try it if you haven't yet. Yeah, so basically when we develop software, we keep it there. The next step, what's done with our software, it goes to Jenkins. I was pretty skeptical about Jenkins in the first place, because when I joined castLabs last year in July, I was asking, okay guys, so what do you use actually to build your software? And the answer was nothing, but we have some Jenkins. Never ever anyone used it, but yeah, we have it, so maybe we should give it a try. I was pretty skeptical about it. We tried to research how we can use Jenkins in the, to improve our lives a bit. Even though it's a simple tool, it's not. It's really pretty powerful. We do right now. Currently, we do all the unit testing of every single commit. We automated our whole workflow after that. So whenever we pass all the tests, unit tests, we package the content, we build the software, we package that in Debian archive. And this is the first thing we started doing. This was like really awesome automation we started with, was building a Debian package, because it's really nice if you do the deployment, you just go, do apt-get, install the package name, and it's done, right? Well, we went a little bit further with it, and we started packaging our content into virtual machine images. So after passing the unit test, we built a Debian package. We start virtual machine instance. We install the software on it. We close the machine, and then we copy the whole image of the instance of this machine. And that's this is the final package which we actually deliver to our service. So yeah, we are no longer deploying Debian packages on library type systems. We do that with AMI. After deploying, of course, we start with integration tests. see if the software, it's deployed in staging system. After that, we run some integration tests to see if the changes we did or new features are actually working with other systems from all of our services. And then we are sure that what we build is actually ready for production. Then we are free to push it to production at some point. So this is basically how the deployment process looks like from the high-level perspective. So yeah, as I said, the workflows. It's I was sure Jenkins is a pretty simple tool, but you can build all this automation there. So you don't have to click each step, build the package, then put the package here, install the package, do something with it. No, you just don't do that, you know. What we do is we press one button, and if all tests pass and so on, you know, we can just go for a coffee, make a coffee, we are back, and we have ready virtual machine image, which we can just use for deployment. So yeah, the workflows, it's pretty powerful thing there. Of course, you can use all the plugins and the REST API. REST API is my favorite because when I discovered that Jenkins has a REST API, and when I joined castLabs, I was wondering why hell we have traffic lights in the office. I didn't know that. And it was standing there, you know, covered with dust, no one used it. And then to my head came this idea that we have to do something with it. You know, there's like traffic lights, and there's Jenkins, like traffic lights, Jenkins, there's a REST API. So currently what we do is, on traffic lights, in our office, we see the state of builds from the category of the team which is sitting in this room. I'm in the server team, of course. So yeah, whenever someone starts the build, we see the yellow light, you know, and if everything is fine, then we have a green light. If it's a red light and it's a Friday evening, it means that you're not going to a party. So yeah, definitely you should try REST API. I described how, because the traffic lights, I did a little bit of electronics for it. I did some software, really simple scripts for that. It's available on my GitHub, so yeah, definitely you should check it out. That's pretty nice to have traffic lights with Jenkins. At least you know what's happening. So yeah, that's all about Jenkins. My favorite, actually my favorite. Do you know Netflix? Yeah, you know Netflix. I mean, they're awesome. They have like 1/3 of the internet is Netflix, right? So if you're so big, you know a lot of really nice things, and if you want to be really awesome, you share the knowledge how you do stuff. Oh yeah, I should mention in the beginning, we use for everything, we use Amazon. And if you use Amazon and you want to make your life easier, you should definitely go to Netflix open source software. They have something called Asgard. They have something which is called Simian Army, and they have ICE. Those are the 3 tools we use every day in work, and they're the most awesome tool ever, which can make your life, you know, easy. So, does anyone of you know any of those things? No. Okay. Then let me describe Asgard. Asgard is a powerful tool which is used by Netflix to do deployments. What you can do in Asgard, you don't have to worry about remembering where's your machines and so on. You never, in Amazon, you don't think about such thing as a computer machine. No, you don't. You think a bit upper layer, which is application, right? So you don't deploy machines, you deploy applications. And it's called cluster. You define a cluster in Asgard, which means this is a configuration. This is some kind of configuration. It's named like your application, and it's in this environment, let's say it's staging. And then what you want from this cluster, you want that this cluster behaves in a specific way. What we use is auto-scaling groups in clusters, which means that we define an application which we want to have deployed in this data center at least on 2 instances. And whenever load on those 2 machines will go up above some level, fire more instances. This is pretty awesome because, you know, you don't have to worry anymore about your servers being overloaded. What you do is you define auto-scaling group for this application, and it will take care of everything. Connect it with CloudWatch and others from CloudWatch from Amazon. You can do that. And then application scale itself, you can define if you don't really spend all your money on Amazon, you can define that you want to have at least 2, but maximum, let's say, 60 instances of this application. And yeah, basically you can do that from the console of Amazon. It's not possible. You can use their API to do that, but I haven't seen it anywhere in the clickable console of Amazon any options which allows you to do auto-scaling groups. At least if it's possible, it's really hard. But with Amazon and with Asgard, it's really simple. You just define click, click, click. It's done. You can ask this one guy, he's sitting here, who's doing that. Maciej, somewhere. Ah, here. This is the guy who's, master of Asgard. And yeah, he's a pretty cheerful guy, You can see, you can look at him, and he's not a sad guy. Thanks to auto-scaling and clustering. Another interesting part about the clusters is that you can define multiple auto-scaling groups in a cluster, which means that you can, having a one application, you can fire up 2 auto-scaling groups with 2 different versions. And this leads to really nice deployment process, which gives you the possibility of having 100% uptime all the time without worrying that when you deploy stuff, it breaks. No, it doesn't, because we have a health checks which we define for auto-scaling groups. So whenever you fire up an application or a new version of the application, you deploy it, but it contains some basic problems with database connectivity. Cache is not properly configured for some reason. Maybe someone changed the Puppet manifest for this application in the meantime, and it stopped working. It's not a problem because this auto-scaling group will not be connected to load balancer because the health check is failing. So you have this basic control in auto-scaling groups or in the clusters, which will not allow you to deploy in production, for example, non-working version, at least without the basic functionality or basic subsystems. Yeah, so this is really nice because you can deploy new version even if it passes the test of health check. There may be some still problems somewhere down in the logic. But what we do is we observe the error rate whenever we introduce a new version, and the error rate goes up above 0. Then we just shut down the auto-scaling group with this new version. We debug the problem, we fix the problem, create a new version, we deploy this new version. If we deploy both versions at the same time behind one load balancer, and there is no errors, we just disable the old one. And I think this is a pretty amazing way of deploying stuff today. And definitely, if you don't do it yet, you should. And of course, as I mentioned, I love REST APIs or any kind of APIs because it's really awesome to, be able to connect to different systems and do really nasty stuff with them. And Asgard allows you to do that. So it's using Amazon API to configure your Amazon, your AWS, to do what you want in a really nice manner. But you can also automate Asgard itself. And this is what we do, or actually this is the next step we are working on, is whenever we have a successful build of a virtual machine image, it will be deployed in a staging system, or not staging, it's like, some people call it staging, we just have this testing, staging before prod thing. Yeah, so it will be automatically deployed. If there is no problems with it, it will just delete the old configuration, it will delete the new one. So, yeah, you can automate Asgard, this is pretty nice. You said you haven't heard about Siemens Army. This is pretty amazing, and this is a pretty nasty piece of technology, which is also from Netflix, because they have this ideology that you can't trust anything, anyone, anything. And they are using Amazon, and I understand them. Amazon infrastructure is awesome, it's really flexible, there is a lot of services there, but it's not perfect. And Netflix ideology of building software is be prepared for failure. And they pushed this idea a little bit further because they generate their own failures. They have something, they started with chaos monkeys. Have you heard about chaos monkeys? This is one of the first blocks from Syrian army. It's an application which you configure to destroy your infrastructure. So the basic functionality of it is go choose a random instance from your random application and just turn it off and see what will happen. You know, you have to be prepared for that. And yeah, this is chaos monkey. And they have some other chaos things there, like chaos gorilla, which will turn off the whole data center in your infrastructure just to see what will happen. You know, it will kill your database because, well, you should be prepared for that. It will turn off your cache and do all the nasty stuff you wouldn't ever do because you would be afraid of killing your application. But Netflix does it because you should be prepared. Yeah, we have it deployed, but as much as said, it's a chaos monkey on the leash because it's not fully configured yet. But soon, hopefully, we will have it running and it will be killing everything, every single piece of our infrastructure because how Netflix does it. It's a really good way. We want to follow it because I strongly believe that this is the way to do. You should be ready for any kind of failure, even the one you couldn't ever imagine. Yeah, the awesomeness of Amazon, it's really nice, but the awesomeness comes with a price. And Amazon, well, it's not really expensive, but it's not also really cheap if you don't use it properly. And here comes ICE. ICE is a simple system which will just gather information from your Amazon infrastructure, and it will tell you exactly how much you will pay at the end of the month. So it's like, you know, if you're in operations and you don't want to be blamed that you're spending too much money on the infrastructure, you want to manage it. You know, I mentioned this auto-scaling groups, and they grow, but also the machines are killed whenever they are not used anymore. So yeah, this tool ICE allows you to predict the costs of at the end of the month. You will know before how much you will pay without doing all this nasty math. And with Amazon, there is a lot of different methods of pricing. You know, it's like per gigabyte sent, received by a read or write to the database, or it's, you know, you pay for everything, a little bit here, a little bit here. It's really hard to gather all the information at one place and know exactly the final number, but this is what ICE is doing. So yeah, definitely give a try to Netflix OSS. Their open software is really helping to make better services, to make better software. I already mentioned that we use Amazon. There's a lot of cloud providers. For some reason, someone choosing castLabs Amazon, and I'm really happy about it. Sometimes it's failing, but well, as long as you have your application deployed in many availability zones or in many regions, it doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, I think Amazon is a perfect choice. They have a lot of different services. The basic one, of course, is Elastic Cloud Compute. It's EC2 RDB relation databases. Currently use MySQL. Hopefully someday Amazon will give us Postgres, so we can switch to normal database. Elastic Cache, which is basically Memcache, which we use in all our services because it just works. You know, and it's pretty easy to configure that in a secure manner and so on and so on. Like, yeah, that's nice. Route 53, simple. Normally people call it DNS, but it's Route 53 there. Elastic Load Balancer, the base block of all of our system, which makes them highly available and scalable and so on. S3, simple storage services. We use them to store. Oh yeah, did I mention that we deliver content? Yeah, so we store all the original files on S3. It's not cheap if you start storing like multiple terabytes or hundreds of terabytes, but yeah, it works, so it's worth it. SNS, I don't know if everyone uses it or will use it, but you should. It's a simple notification service, so whenever your systems are down for some reason, you can use SNS as a messaging transport layer, you know, emails and stuff. Definitely it's worth checking out. We use it every day. And currently, we do some research and development with Elastic MapReduce, which is Hadoop Cloud HSM, since we are doing VRMs, Amazon, we were asking them politely for quite a long time to have a hardware security modules in a virtual environment. And yes, they did it. There's a Cloud HSM available in East Coast of the US currently for production. And we are going to start using it for our DRM services, and we'll push all the security stuff there. Or all our private keys, the keys to decrypt the databases, and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, this is pretty expensive stuff, but we have to do it. Yeah, and DynamoDB is NoSQL. We are trying to push as much stuff as possible to NoSQL instead of SQL. Sorry. So yeah, they have much more services. You definitely have to check out what's there. Yeah, it just works, you know. Whenever I need Windows for some reason, sometimes it happens. I just go there, I fire up instance, in 5 minutes I have a running Windows, which I can shut down in 15-20 minutes, and it costs me like a couple of cents, even not. So yeah, clouds everywhere. Amazon is a really nice thing. And the last piece of technology we are using, because the problem is that when you're really busy with building software, you don't think that someone should actually monitor this software or do debugging and so on and so on. So you should have some kind of system which will monitor your infrastructure, your applications, your code, and notify you, and so on and so on. Amazon Cloud Services, web services, they have CloudWatch, but it's pretty painful to use it. Data retency is like 2 weeks, so after 2 weeks you lose all your statistics, which is pretty sad. But here comes New Relic. Anyone of you know New Relic? It's pretty awesome. I was really against it. I was sure that it's not ugly, it's really beautiful. That's why I was a bit afraid, because for me, monitoring system, you know, this, how it's called, this ugly and Nagios, yeah, definitely Nagios is the most ugliest tool ever. But I was sure that we don't have any other option than Nagios to be, you know, professional. And yeah, then we went to DjangoCon, and I was sitting at somewhere drinking beer, and there was some guy like, "What did you hear about New Relic?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard about it, but I don't think it's a good tool." Well, you know, I'm from New Relic, and I bet that you will love it. I'm like, "Why?" Try to convince me. Okay, you see this beer? I'm like, "Yeah." I strongly believe that you will be able to deploy New Relic in a really useful for you way before you will be done with this beer. I'm like, "Well, give it a try." In less than 5 minutes, we had our application working with New Relic in a way that it showed exactly what's happening, what SQL queries are executed, or where our service is connecting. I was a bit afraid of using it. If we are sending all this information to you, how should I sleep safely if you have everything about my infrastructure and my application? But actually, it is pretty safe. I've checked that later. They're not sending your passwords and so on and so on. There's a lot of different configurations possible to make, which will say that, okay, you can send only this kind of information. You can do that, and so on and so on. I should mention in the beginning that I'm a Python developer, so I do stuff in Python. We do most of our services in Python. And with Python, basically you can't secure your code. There's no such thing as closed software which you deliver. You can't expect that anyone will not look inside. Of course I will, this is the first thing I'm doing. I just look inside, and New Relic is, you have a web server, you have a WSGI handler, whatever. Then you have a New Relic, and then you have your application. You put the New Relic agent between your web server and your web application, and it knows everything about it. I've checked what's happening in the code of New Relic, and it's pretty safe. So we started using it, but I was like, yeah, guys, this is like really serious, it's so expensive. We can't use it for all our services. We have like tens, soon hundreds of instances running. If we have to pay for every single instance, this is going to be really painful. Not for us, but for those guys who are paying. But then one of our developers, core developer, he was researching some stuff, and by mistake he found this website where they said that, well, if you use Amazon, New Relic is giving you the standard version, for free. I was like, okay, I didn't like this system that much, but right now when it's for free, we should use it. And that was really good. That was really good move because New Relic, when we started using it, there was only application monitoring and servers monitoring. So you can install agents in your web server to monitor your application, but you can also monitor the whole server. And it will be also New Relic. This was nice. They added recently quite a lot of plugins for AWS. So right now you can monitor everything from databases, caches, and so on and so on and so on. All the services most likely. If something is not supported by New Relic, you just write to those guys and they will do it for you. So yeah, a bunch of plugins available. AWS integration, it's a standard version available for you for free if you just use Amazon. Yeah, so they have this really nice maps showing you that the customer is connecting here. It's like there's an icon of a connection, then you have your server, and then you have all those maps connections to other services which are used by your service. And they show that the response time from your Memcache is like this, and your Memcache status, by the way, is really awesome right now. And then your database and so on, you can look deeply into what kind of queries are executing, or you can see the most time-consuming queries, and so on and so on. Recently we discovered this really nice alerts workflow, and I was so amazed by that, how nicely you can actually handle alerts. They sent you an email that there is an alert, and that was fine, but then if you read the email carefully, there is a button that you acknowledge the alert. And this is an alert website from New Relic. It shows that there is a throughput of your application, so there was more requests. For some reason, error rate went above 0, and it started at some point. Then the notification was sent to those people. Something happened, I don't see right now, but here is acknowledged by, and it was acknowledged by me that I'm taking care of this problem. And then we have some kind of history, what was happening. And in the end, if the error rate goes down, the notification is sent, and so on and so on. This is a really nice way of automating alerts handling, I would say, or to manage them. And there's a lot more in New Relic. We use it, we are really happy about it. Right now, there is no single service or server which wouldn't use New Relic, because, yeah, it's worth it, especially if it's for free. And that's the 5th technology I was about to say. This week I went to our office, and operations said that you definitely should show this one thing, which is Ops View. I don't know the tool, but it looks really nicely. It's like New Relic on steroids. Imagine that something which is awesome, you put even more stuff there, which is not overblown, but still shows you really interesting things.
Yeah, the microphone.
Yeah, so it's like New Relic, but it's nicer and it does stuff, and it works, and you're not sad about working with it. Yeah. So, but I'm not showing you Ops View. I think it's going to be really nice, but I don't know it yet. I haven't put my hands on it. I just saw some screens from it. And I will not, because I'm a software developer. I just do everything, but they say they are operations. Yeah. Oh yeah. How we do actually stuff? It's sometimes you divide your company in multiple different parts, and every team or teams. Every team is responsible for something. For us, it's not exactly the case, because we strongly believe that working together gives better results than trying to separate and just, your work can't be just blaming some other team that it's their fault. I mean, I did my job, but it's their fault. No, we try. It's hard, but we try to not do that. We try to work as a one big team. Yeah, that's the privilege of being a small company. We have like 27 employees, 22.
Thank you very much, guys. That was really nice speaking to you.